Rod Rosenstein, he's now the former Deputy Attorney General, but remember, for the purposes of appointing Bob Mueller and the Russia investigation, he was the acting Attorney General. He was the buck stops with him when it came to the Department of Justice decisions and the decisions of the FBI, by the way.
The information he has now, if he knew it then, he would have never signed the FISA warrant. You know what that tells me? That tells me nobody was paying attention, including Rod Rosenstein, to what was going on. That's number one. Number two, and then when he reviewed the FISA, he hesitated. He said, well, I don't know if I'd say I read every word of it or word for word. You are issuing a FISA on an individual who was associated with the campaign of the President of the United States.
He said in his testimony that he knew this FISA was coming. He was briefed on it. That was unique. Usually he would not. Usually he was the final kind of stop, and it would go through all the verification before. But in this one, he was uniquely responsible personally. And I think Senator Hawley's right. He just testified that he believes Rod Rosenstein should be held accountable for everything Bob Mueller did and everything, all the wrongdoing in the FBI.
Someone has to be accountable for the issuance of the warrant before the court, so that the court could ultimately make the warrant outstanding. You got to say that it's Rod Rosenstein who bears the ultimate responsibility here.
Rod unleashed this investigation. He allowed Mueller to continue to expand it. And they knew so early on that the information they had was a fraud. That's what's so the irony of all of this.
This is, I think, an example of what the committee is after. It's an example of what I thought we might get. And officials who were involved here trying to come forward and salvage a small bit of their personal reputation. Now, I don't think Mr. Rosenstein has done that. If you take sort of the trifecta that he's admitted to here, he's acknowledged that the foundations of the investigation did not warrant the investigation. He's admitted that there was no predicate whatsoever. And he stated that officials like Andrew McCabe were neither neutral or forthcoming in their work.
This is the key question. I mean, this happened right at the beginning of the hearing. Take a listen.
Do you think McCabe knew that?
I hope not, Senator. I do not personally know.
Was he in charge of the investigation?
Yes, he was.
Did he ever lie to you?
Mr. McCabe, I don't believe, Senator, that there were any occasions in which I identified that he lied to me.
Okay. Did he ever say anything, looking back, that is perplexing to you?
Well, that's a very broad question, Senator. I had a lot of
Do you think he was truthful to you?
Well, I believed, Senator, that Mr. McCabe was not fully candid with me. He certainly wasn't forthcoming.
When he says he lacked candor, why don't we stop using that expression? I am so sick of the expression, he lacked candor. He was not fully forthcoming. Let's call it what it is. He lied.
David Gomez is a former FBI agent and a senior fellow at George Washington University Center for Cyber and Homeland Security. He was asked the question in an article that ran in The Atlantic as to what does the actual term lack of candor mean under FBI protocols. And I know you're going to find this interesting. Lack of candor is untruthfulness or an attempt to dissemble from the point of view of the investigator.
Rosenstein accepted those lies that were given to him and carried them on and propounded them to the FISA court to the detriment of the Trump administration, because it perpetuated an investigation that was indeed what the president called it, Jay, all that time, a witch hunt.
Take a listen to this. This is the number 3 ranking Democrat in the United States Senate.
Do you agree the Trump campaign knew about, welcomed, and expected to benefit electorally from Russia's interference, as Mr. Mueller found in his report?
What page are you referring to, Senator?
Happy to tell you. It's volume 1, pages 1 and 2.
I'm not sure whether you were quoting from the report, Senator, but I have it in front of me.
Statement within the report, volume 1, pages 1 and 2.
Yes, sir. I have it right here.
Trump campaign knew about, welcomed, and expected to benefit electorally from Russia's interference. Do you disagree with that? Have any reason to disagree with that finding?
I apologize, Senator. I'm not seeing those words in the report. If you could direct me to where it is in the report, I'll be happy to.
I will. I don't have it at the moment in front of me, but I will produce it.
Dick Durbin just quoted something that, guess what, was not on page 1 and 2 of the report. But you know what was on page 1 and 2 of the report? They could not make a case that there was collusion or conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russians.
This is what Andrew McCabe said in 2017 under oath to the House Intel Committee. He said, there is a lot of information in the Steele reporting. We have not I repeat, we have not been able to prove the accuracy of all of that information. Jay, that's what Andy McCabe lied about to Rod Rosenstein, and that's what Rod Rosenstein lied about to get that application forwarded.
The fraud that took place here was the fraud taken on the American people and the waste of almost $40 million and 3 years of a lot of people's time. What's happening, and this is good, is we're getting to the bottom line. We're starting to get real answers as to what was actually going on here.